or can find it.
All right, guys. We are here. We were Dan Dillon, and we are live. How's it going?
Hey, everybody.
As always, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. Got a little bit of a cold, so my brain isn't firing on all its cylinders here. How's it going? And I'm also hearing myself. How horrible. As always, Dave.
Better mute that so we're not coming back.
Yeah. I thought I got that. Like I said, we're not firing on all cylinders today.
It's all right. We'll get it done.
Yeah, I thought the cold had already peaked, but it might be peaking today. We'll see.
It's no big deal. It's no big deal. So how was your con?
It was good. It was good. It was busy. It was nonstop. Kicked it off with a bang. With the Dream Stream and then the Matt Mercer event.
Oh, yeah.
So the first day was like the most stressful day for me. And then after that, it was like all downhill.
I hear you.
Smooth sailing.
Good.
How was your con, sir? I heard these guys have heard about my con like over and over again now, but at this point.
Yeah, you've probably been all over it. Mine was great. Man, GenCon 50 was easily one of the best that I've been to yet. So yeah, the main thing I did was I helped run the Four Horsemen Open. This was our third year running. The Four Horsemen, of course, being the design team that I got my start professionally game designing with. And yeah, Ben, yes, I did keep my voice every day. Every day I was on the cusp of losing it, and it bounced back. So I did something right. But yeah, so and the Four Horsemen, particularly Stephen Rowe and Steve Helt, they're two of my closest friends and just incredible game designers. And I'm really fortunate to have known and worked with them for so long. And so we we did our third year run into the Four Horsemen Open, which is if anybody hasn't heard it before, it's a team tournament style team elimination Pathfinder event. You come for the first day, you bring a team of 5, play in a scenario with pre-gens. Everybody has the same stuff. You earn points depending on how well you do in the scenarios. And then the top 4 scoring tables move on to round 2. And then we figure out who's the winner on the second day. And our publishing friends, including Paizo and Cobalt Press and Legendary Games and just a bunch of others, offer us free prize support so everybody who shows up this year. Everyone who showed up to the first day got a free copy of Horror Adventures for Pathfinder, courtesy of Paizo.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that was pretty amazing. And I believe the winning table, in addition to the talented bestiary that just came out from Rogue Genius Games, Four Horsemen. Huge thing that we worked on under the direction of Stephen Rowe. They all got everybody at the table got one of those. The winning table also got a copy of Starfinder, which at that point was very sold out. So that was cool.
Yeah, that pretty much sold out the first day, right?
Yeah, 6 hours, I believe. I think they were sold out by 3 p.m. Day one, and they brought 50% more product than they had ever sold of any product at the entire con in the past. And they sold out in 6 hours. So,
yeah, I feel like there was a lot of excitement for the Starfinder. Even people that aren't necessarily fans of Pathfinder were definitely interested in it.
Yeah. Well, it's new, right? It's something new. It's different. It's a spin. And, it's kicking things in a different direction. So it's definitely worth checking out. And it's being worked on by some incredible people. The head of it is Owen Casey Stevens, who, I mean, he's worked on stuff from way back, Star Wars D20 back in his WotC days. He was he was big in that. So now he's heading up Starfinder, and he is he's so, like, we nerd out about everything, right? That's just how we do. It's who we are. I got to sit at his table at the preview banquet at PaizoCon, which was just such a treat. And he was giddy, just talking about every little thing that he was just so pumped about, and just sort of stumbling over himself to tell us the next cool thing that was infectious. So I'm really excited to see what it's all about.
Yeah, we're actually about to start doing some Starfinder videos. I think we're about to crack the book. I wasn't too worried about getting a copy at GenCon because I knew mine should be waiting when I got home. So
I see a question in the chat. I don't mind if you mind jumping on that real quick. What's Starfinder from Carl Maxon? So Starfinder is a science fantasy, I guess I'd call it. It's sort of a sci-fi version of Pathfinder. It's compatible with standard Pathfinder, but there have been a lot of rules revisions. Like, for instance, spells only go up to 6th level, not all the way up to 9th. They've rejibbered a lot of things. They've streamlined a lot, but it keeps some of the core complexity that 3rd edition era fans know and love and what they want out of their games. Yeah, it looks really, really cool. My favorite, Eos, Eox, the planet of the undead. That's basically like the cemetery for the entire galaxy or solar system or whatever.
Didn't they get rid of the combat, like for the maneuvers and stuff?
You know what? I haven't looked at it extensively myself yet. I've only seen preview things, and I've gotten a glimpse inside the book here and there. But I think you're right. I think they did tone down the combat maneuvers quite a bit.
I'll troll back through your question, Zareth. I'll see if I can't find it or ask it again. Yeah, so there's that. And I think my other partners, they were telling me that they feel like you could play like the Pathfinder stuff in Starfinder, but it'd actually be underpowered in comparison.
Oh, well, yeah, that's possible. You'll definitely have to sand the edges, but I think the rule skeletons are close enough that you can make it work. Sort of like between 3.5 and Pathfinder. You can make that stuff work. You just might have to tinker with it a little bit to make everything fit thematically.
Yeah, tweak some things.
Yeah.
But, I'm definitely interested. All right. So I see your question. I just have no context for it, because it's probably up here further. Question. All right, I got you, Zareth. So my campaign ran into a snag. I found that the beginning was terrible. The old knight summons all you for a quest bit, so I need a new opening to get them from point A to B while making them want to quest for this orb. Restarts are usually pretty easy in adventures. I've done it plenty of times where it kind of gets blah, and you just have to rework things a little bit. And there's also nothing wrong with shelving an idea for a while either. I'm sure you've experienced that in your games as well, Dan.
Yeah. Every now and then I just sort of have to chalk it up to not every story is going to be a winner. Sorry, guys, I'll do better on the next one. What did you like? What did you not like? So I can try to not make the same mistakes. So yeah, I guess I'm not sure. God, that camera refocus is killing me. And Windows 10 disabled control panel on my camera. I've got to get a new one. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what snag you ran into. The beginning was terrible. Can you tell me a little bit more about what was terrible? And then, what didn't work for you?
So it sounds like the quest. Like he used a standard quest giver, and
sort of a MacGuffin.
Players didn't bite on it, or maybe they found something more interesting and they started doing their own thing. You can always just go with that too. I've done that plenty of times.
Hey, mini terrain domain, what's happening? Yeah, so if you're finding that the problem is that your players aren't engaging, then tie it into their backstory. Make the quest giver someone who's attached to one of the players. Maybe it's their mentor, maybe it's a best friend, or a family member, father, grandfather, mother, whatever. Use that to create engagement. If your players write backstories, pull elements from it and change the names of the NPCs you were going to use their backgrounds. That's instant engagement and makes them way less likely to be like, old guy in a cloak at a bar wants us to go find a thing. Not interested. I'm going to go explore the catacombs I heard about in my mind.
That's actually my secret weapon as well. Is if you try and pull something whole cloth from your mind as the DM, chances are you've got like a 50-50 that they're going to bite on your hook. But if you pull something from their backstory, something they told you about, they're already kind of invested in it. And it's always easier to go, yeah, he wants them to go and quest for this orb, but maybe you just haven't made it enticing enough. Maybe it's not. You have to find a way to link that orb or the need for that orb to your players. And then you don't really have to push or force anything. They'll want to do it. They'll, it's the thing that they need to do.
Yeah. I was told it is old cliche. I mean, it kind of is. The word cliche is a little bit of a a sticking point for me. Cliche suggests that something just isn't executed well. If something is executed well, it's no longer a cliche. Now it's a trope, right? It's something that it's an archetype that is recognizable and creates some instant engagement. And there's a way to do it right. It just sounds like maybe you need, I don't know, maybe just to try to create more engagement beyond the basic, here's a thing somebody wants you to go do, now go do it. Build in a reason for them to want to go do it. And that really comes down to who and what they're playing and, you know, what their idea of the character is.
The other thing, too, is like shelf that idea for a little bit, play the game a little bit, let the players get invested in things in the game, and then link it to that. So you can kind of, but don't pick the link before they're vested. That's the key.
Well, yeah, the problem is with, you know, first session, the initial arc, you don't have that framework beyond what you've told the character, what the players, you know, the campaign's going to be about, and beyond what they've told you about who they want to play. But yes, definitely pick things that already have some level of engagement and tie the new stuff to that in some fashion.
Yeah, and you know, and that's easy. Like, and you never know what it's going to be. Like, you're gonna throw out like throwaway NPCs, and your players are just going to be like fixate on them. And just because maybe you just happen to do the right voice that hit the right chord with them at that time, or the right quirk that you just made up on the spot, but now they keep wanting to go back to that NPC. So you just look for opportunities like that. Yeah. And then, in my mind, the adventures start kind of like writing themselves. They become invested. They care about those NPCs, or maybe it's a favorite tavern or something. There's all kinds of things you can do with that.
Yeah. Writer's Block is asking, do we have any advice for a new DM running a game with a lot of players? 7 players and 2 NPCs that are already in play for a session. Now I'm finding it kind of difficult. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, my first advice is certainly for a new DM is don't run a game that big, but that ship has already sailed, so you got to do what you got to do. I would say get rid of the allied NPCs as soon as possible. I love allied NPCs. I don't use the term DMPC for a number of reasons, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I love allied NPCs for a number of reasons, but you really need to be able to focus spotlight time on the players. And if you have 7 of them already, that is going to take a lot of time and effort. So get rid of the extra NPCs as soon as they're not necessary, and rewrite things to make them not necessary if you have to.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I actually just don't like having NPCs hanging out with the party, because inevitably I want the story to revolve around them. I don't like the extra pieces in combats. So a lot of times when I do have that, I kind of hand the NPCs off for the players and be like, all right, who's going to use this NPC during the combat to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, when you have that many players, it's going to be tough. I try to keep to, I like 6 tops.
I think my sweet spot is 4, maybe 5, and I'll push to 6 if I have to. And I've done bigger games than that. But when I did bigger games, it was with the idea that some of these people are going to flake out, and natural attrition will winnow us down to the number of players that I want to run. So yeah, in games of 4 or 5, I like having an NPC that can attach to the party for various reasons. I like to use them as sort of a setting touchstone to help showcase some things. I like having them as another one of those plot elements that can be or hooks that can be attached to one of the characters. Like maybe they're from the same knightly order, the same paladin order, or the same I don't know, branch of the army that they came from. And so they'll adventure with you a little bit, and then later they'll be like, oh hey, army buddy, remember that time? I need help with X, and then boom, I have an instant launching point for a new adventure. In about 2 D&D campaigns ago, we had a sort of a revolving cast of allied NPCs that would hang out with us, and it came in really handy because 2 of our comrades died in an encounter, and there is no raised dead in that campaign. It was just removed for various reasons, which I could go off on a giant tangent about, but we'll save that unless people are interested. So we had to quest for a way to raise them back from the dead. And so they played a couple of our already established allied NPCs as PCs for that section of the campaign. It worked really well.
That's actually a great idea. That's actually something we had kind of implemented in our games a while back when it actually happened in a Star Wars game. And what the DM did was he said, okay, the party has been split, but if you can pick any NPC from the NPC section of the Star Wars book and play that character with the other party members, as long as it's reasonable for them to have been there. So it's kind of like a way to keep people in the game, even if they're not.
Right.
And sometimes that even like was played as adversaries as well. So it kind of made like for a fun wild card element and created these different like role-playing situations. And also like we had another one even in our D&D game where one player like insisted that his character needed to go off and do his own thing. And instead of taking time away from the session, he's like, look, I'll just sit this out. Or can I play an NPC from the back of the monster manual and adventure with the party for the session? And sure, why not? So he picked a veteran and just played a veteran NPC.
Cool.
So
I dig that. I dig that a lot.
Well, it's a lot better than, I'm sure you've been there too, where you're playing the game and the party splits or someone does their own thing, and it's just that the DM has to go back and forth, or someone's just not doing something. So it kind of like fixed that problem, and everyone still gets to play the game and have fun.
Yeah, I dig it. Let's see.
Truemate's got something here.
Sure.
How do you deal with campaign where you have like 3 NPCs with a ton of backstory, yet they really want to interact with the random NPC number 5? That's exactly what I was talking about, and it will happen every time.
Sure.
You know what? You just have to let it go, and you have
just roll with it. Yeah.
You let it go, and you go, what? Now number 5 is your interesting NPC.
Yeah, and if you haven't used any of that thick backstory from one of your 3-star NPCs, just scrap it. Say, okay, this guy's not important. This other guy they're more interested in is important. Take that backstory and just slide it over and change the name. I mean, if you haven't already presented it, they'll never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also too, like when I talk about creating backstories or creating not backstories, but NPCs, it's like, for me, there generally is no stats, and there's like maybe 3 sentences. Yeah. If I'm getting crazy. Just because I know you're gonna go through all that work, and like that's not the NPC they're gonna latch onto.
Sure. Let's see. There was something else I saw in there. My name was highlighted. That's cool. What are the chances of Unearthed Arcana style updates for Starfinder? Well, so I'm not like a member of the. I don't work for Paizo. I'm not a member of the Starfinder team, so I really couldn't say. I can guess from history, though, that Starfinder is going to have more regular player source books, so I don't think you'll need playtest articles. They also don't do open playtests traditionally, Paizo. I mean, they did open playtest with the Pathfinder, when it was originally being written, but since then, I mean, they don't open playtest all the products they're coming out with. So I would guess none chance of things like Unearthed Arcana is what I'm going to go with.
Besides, let's face it, they hit the gate with like the same amount of products that 5th edition has put out over the past like 3 years.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, like, you're not going to be starved for options when it comes to Starfinder, I'm sure.
Right. They're very different philosophies, unless Starfinder is going to take that slightly more austere approach, which I haven't heard anything about. We'll have to see.
Oh, that's funny. Lavoyer. Random NPC number 5 is going to go on a lunch date with NPCs 1, 2, and 3. that could be one way of doing it.
Yeah, but no, then they'll want to tag along, and then you have to roleplay 4 NPCs talking to each other.
Yeah. That actually came up in our game last night, and the DM is like, yeah, I'm not going to roleplay them myself. It's just weird. And for the record, too, Dan is actually a mercenary, I believe, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm not invested in any one particular place. I'm all over.
Speaking of which, since we have you on there, in case people aren't aware, where might people find you or know you from?
Oh, sure. Well, on social media, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Dan_Dillon_1. Super creative, I know. I'm also on Facebook. You can just search for. I think my official thing is Daniel.p.Dillon. And I'm also a moderator on the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Facebook group, the one with over 100,000 members now. Holy crap. So I'm on there just about every day, probably more than I should be. And if you're interested in talking D&D 5e, that is the place to do it. A Myrmidon, I like that. As far as work that I've done, I've contributed to a couple of core line Pathfinder books for Paizo, the Villains Codex that came out last year, and the upcoming Ultimate Wilderness. I have written for a large swath of third-party publishers for Pathfinder and now 5th edition. I got my start in Pathfinder with the Four Horsemen, and I've transitioned at this point pretty much exclusively to 5e.
So, you know, since it's kind of come up a little bit, you think you're going to do any writing for Starfinder?
I think I may have chatted with Owen Casey Stevens about that at GenCon, so it is highly possible. So I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if that pans out. Nothing to report on there yet.
I know, now you're going to have to read the book and learn the rules.
I'm going to have to read the book. Yes, I don't really know the rules yet. I've dipped my toe in and splashed in the pool a little bit. That's it. I actually got to dive in there and hold my breath for a while. No, I'm really interested to see how it plays. I like a lot of what I've seen. I can't, off the top of my head, think of anything that I flat out dislike about what I've seen about it yet. So that's always real exciting. As far as other work I've done, the vast majority of my work, if you guys are plugged into D&D third-party publishing at all, is going to be through Cobalt Press. So I've worked on the Tome of Beasts is the big one there. I was just super fortunate to get to dive into that project. That was amazing. I've worked on a good deal of stuff for Midgard. I did the Heroes line for Cobalt Press, which is all players' options, backgrounds, and races. Mostly centering around the Midgard campaign setting, but very useful elsewhere as well. And it's fun because a lot of those had things like Lizard, had some takes like Kobold before Volo's Guide came out, sometimes by like a year or more before. So it's cool to see what I did versus what WotC did with their official take on it. And it's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. It was interesting. I've done the Deep Magic, a lot of the Deep Magic 5e supplements, which are super popular and getting a really great reception. Very, very thankful for that. I've also worked for Legendary Games. I did some conversions of their Legendary Planet Adventure Path. So if you're looking for more Starfinder ties in, there's some stuff you can check out. That's a little more Sword and Planet, a little more John Carter of Mars than Star Trek, Star Wars, but it'll get you there. I've done work for Playground Adventures, one of my favorite people to work for. BJ Hensley's amazing. Her husband Daniel is just super cool. You should check out their creature component supplement for Pathfinder and 5e, by the way. If you want to up your crafting game at all, it's all about that old trope of, you know, demon's blood, dragon's blood that carries some of their inherent magic, and you can take those things and then use them to augment your spell casting or build them into magic items. Very cool supplements.
Yeah, you, BJ, and Steven were three of the people on my list to try and track down, as well as Owen at GenCon, but I absolutely failed.
Yeah, I missed you. I guess you were at the booth a couple times. I saw Doug. It's always a delight to see him. He's a big Void Magic fan, so he's got a special place in my heart.
Yes.
Yeah, but I missed you at the con. Let's see. BJ, she was running ragged. I don't know how she did it. She was wall to wall to wall to wall. Her card was full for the entire weekend. Nuts. And she weathered it better than anyone I've ever seen. I don't understand how it works, but I was in awe.
when I went by the Hero Lab booth, they're like, I think she's been here like 30 minutes.
Probably a grand total of 30 minutes over the entire weekend, and that was broken into very small flybys.
Yeah. So and then I did run into James, so at least I was able to say hi to James Sutter.
Oh, cool.
I really was looking for anyone that's been on the show at any point. I definitely wanted to just, you know, get some FaceTime and shake hands and say hello in person for sure. But
yeah, great.
GenCon's a big place. It's a big place with a lot of people. So
Volibear,
yes. More events.
Somebody pulled info off of my Twitter bio. Yes, I'm a Volibear enthusiast from League of Legends.
Yeah. My son is always trying to convince me to switch from D&D to League of Legends.
Oh, that's a big switch.
Yeah. It is a big switch. He's always watching and consuming gameplays of that.
Yeah, it's fun, time consuming, but like, what isn't?
Yeah.
So what else we got hopping around over here?
My friends from Cardboard Fortress, Anthony Amato's in the chat. What's up, buddy? He plays in our D&D game, one of our D&D games.
Based on my recent tweet at Jeremy Crawford, what's my case for the PHB Ranger? All right, we're already a half hour in. We don't have time. Man, go to the 5e Facebook group and search for my name and Ranger, and you'll probably see it. I also have a public post on my Facebook. That's my impressions of the Ranger Revised from Unearthed Arcana, which, fair warning, it's got a little bit of bile in it because it was pretty late when I was writing, but it's all pretty spot on despite the barbs. If you want to see a case for the Beastmaster, check out the Tome Show episode. Just search for Tome Show Beastmaster, and you'll find an interview that I and my good friend and longtime DM Skylar Esau had with James Intricasso back when he was on the Tome Show doing the roundtable. And that'll go through pretty much the highlights of why the Beastmaster is actually good, and people miss out on that fact.
So I thought of some more crotchety ways to say that, but sure. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the problem with the Hunter. The Hunter is perfect the way it is. It's fine. I just don't like. I don't like shared actions, but
I understand. The problem is the way they did pet classes previously in D20 games was Baroque AF. For a lot of reasons, and so when you look at them, when you're like, oh, I have to, trade out one of my attacks is for the beast to attack, but you're comparing that to how it used to work, and it actually functions now if you actually look at it. But it's easy to be like, favorite enemy doesn't give damage bonus, nah. And that's just the wrong way to look at it.
I like that because it's like, okay, like you could actually just be from the area. The whole idea that a class has to be based around I hate the thing or hate a group of things is weird.
I agree. I like that favorite enemy is just a lot about X creature and not necessarily that you loathe it. You just know it really well. It's kind of like Ranger's the new bard,
Yeah, that's way better. Like the old school Ranger was like, oh, they're all like Nazis against like whatever, instead of just being knowledgeable.
Yep.
So I like it that the Ranger focuses. It's the only class that focuses on the exploration component of the game.
Correct. And that's one of the big things. If you don't want to do that, you're not going to enjoy Ranger. Quit trying to make Ranger something it's not, right? If you want to be an excellent scout and counter scout, if you want to be excellent at navigating terrain, at knowing things about whatever you're going to be running into, then Ranger has got the cure for what ails you. If that's not what you want, then I suggest you don't look at Ranger. You're not going to enjoy it. A class can't be everything to everybody. It just can't.
You definitely have some insight there. So Carl Maxim's asking, what's your favorite class for D&D?
Oh, geez. Beastmaster Ranger. PH Beastmaster, man. That's maybe my favorite. I like all of them, first off. A little bit of a cop-out, but quite frankly, they all bring great stuff to the table, and it really just depends on what you want to do. My personal favorite's definitely the Beastmaster, though. The first Beastmaster I played was a goblin. It was a goblin ranger with a ranged attack, shortbow user with a flying snake companion, and it was amazing.
The flying snake is one of the best beast companions you can have.
Serpents are where it's at, man. That and the giant poisonous snake. That thing is borderline cheating.
We did a video on our top beast companions. I went with the giant crab.
I'm really enamored of the giant crab, and I kind of want to do one where I take the sentinel feet and just wail on the things that it's grappling. That or a giant frog. I love the crab for the 17 AC though. After you apply the ranger bonuses.
Hey, listen, the giant crab is amphibious. If you're small, you can ride it.
Yeah, mounted combat, guys. Small Beastmasters mounted combat. Look into it.
You have a grab attack.
Yep.
Yeah, when you attack, it's got the highest AC. It's got one of the best hit points.
It's got blind sight.
It's got it's got blind sight, and it's got blind sight at the longest range.
Yep. Yeah, it's real strong.
Yeah, so we each like picked our favorites, and I was like, you know what? I think the giant crab is where it's at.
I haven't played one yet, but I'm really excited to sometime. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Mark my words.
I almost now, now I kind of want to play like maybe like a goblin that rides a giant crab.
Hell yeah, you do.
That's the way to go. It's like a mobile. It's like you're just gonna become a mobile turret, pretty much.
Oh, giant badger, boo, no good. Can't use multi attack. Not worth it.
So we also did. What about that burrow speed, man?
Burrow can be cool. That can be worthwhile. But a lot of people want to take the giant badger because that has multi attack, not realizing that beast companions can't use their multi attack until you get until you hit what 11th level. Yeah.
I also kind of miss rage for the Badgers and Wolverines from previous editions.
Oh yeah. Do they get the relentless thing where if they take a certain amount of damage they don't drop to zero, or do they not get that at all anymore? Yeah.
The Badger got pwned.
Sorry, writer's block. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's how it be.
Yeah, we did the Barded. What is it? The Battle Barded something Brigade, Battle Badger, Barded Battle Badger Brigade was the character build we did, and it was a gnome cavalry on Badgers.
Love it. I love it.
Maybe not super effective, but
but fun and thematic and burrowing, and yeah, I'm in.
Well, I think their burrow speed's like 10 feet.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's the slow creeping death.
Yeah.
Anthony Amato, beach goblin surfing a giant crab, fights with a trident and net. Could be fun. Hit him with the net and then let the crab do his thing.
Tweak the trident and I'm in. On the revised Beastmaster and UA, yes, I have a lot of thoughts on the revised Beastmaster and UA. And like I said, I put them on my on a public face. I may just grab the link to that real quick rather than take up all our time doing that because it's pretty lengthy. Bottom line, I think they threw the baby out with the bathwater. They did a couple of good things, but removing extra attack from the Beastmaster is hot garbage. And it actually makes them nerfed. Like everyone likes to complain, the PH Beastmaster is nerfed if the companion can attack. And they still have no way to give the companion magical weapon attacks, which means they can't hurt things like lycanthropes. And you don't have the option to fall back on your own magic weapon attacks, which you could do with the PHB version.
Bummer.
Yeah.
So it's about that time, guys. We're more than halfway through. If you guys want to hit us with where you're coming in from, and we'll do the roll call. Now would be a good time. Let's see. Brian is. I'm the only one who prefers the original Ranger rather than the UA. Apparently not, because Dan is right there with you.
Nope.
And I haven't really seen the Ranger in play quite enough. Early in my game, one of my players was playing a goblin before there were goblins.
That's how I played mine. This was a pre-Volos goblin. We just kind of cobbled it together.
Yeah, we just basically used halfling and painted it green, filed off the serial numbers.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
But the halfling on the giant spider, what they used it for more than anything was the mobility.
Oh yeah. In the Out of the Abyss campaign that we just finished, we had a stout halfling beastmaster riding a giant wolf spider, which was awesome.
Yeah, and I believe that's what she was doing. So I was riding a wolf spider, and it was perfect. You can climb speed. It's fast. It's not bad at all for a small character.
Oh, I'm not allowed to drop links in chat, unfortunately. So
if you drop it in our chat, it might let me do it.
Okay.
So we got Zarif Gaming coming in from New Mexico. John is in Lincoln, Nebraska. We got Tesmic in Australia. We've got Witherskid behind you. In the suit of armor there. Munich, Germany in the house with Waff Rap. We got Carl from New York. We got another New York with Brian. Kyle is in with Geppetto in the whale's tummy. I blame Professor Bell for those. We have South Texas with Cthulhu Kid. Crystalline is in Canton, Georgia. Eric is in West Virginia. Ben is in Canada. We got Redmond, Washington in the house with Beam Risks.
Hey, how's it going, R. Wallace?
We got Canada, some more Canada with Cody. Got Patrick in Sweden. We have Virgilio in Utah, upstate New York with Ben. Washington, D.C., Rawalis at 8665.
Dublin, Ireland. Awesome.
Got Big Ups Philly with Anthony Amato. Chicago in the house with Urban and Spice Z3. Brian F. New York City. Sam Bickers, Knoxville, Tennessee. Dublin, Ireland, like you said, with Writer's Block. We got Utah in the house with Zen Bravo. We have Choking Marshes of Faerun, of course, with Satori. So to thank everyone from chiming in from all over the world, which is awesome.
That is super cool. I love the reach you guys have.
Yeah, so do we. We're still baffled. I was a little disappointed yesterday. We had 3 people from Sweden, and 2 of them were our regulars. And we a lot of times we will get 3 people, but we saw a new one. And just because it's like, you know, one of the countries you don't see a lot of, and you know, I'm able to like pick them out. And the other 3 being so regular, I was like, oh, we could have had the Quadra.
That's funny.
But we missed it.
Nice. Ottawa.
Daniel asked question. Oh, you're going to ask about this. Do you think that the roles aren't suitably filled by the existing classes? If so, what class would fill that role? First of all, I will start off with I don't believe roles.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I don't know. No, I feel like we're pretty good. Like, I think there are still things that could be covered. Like, I'm down with the UA versions of the Artificer and the Mystic. So I'm cool with those ideas, those concepts, and I'm excited to see what comes of them after they open them up to playtest through the Adventurers League, which is just a super great idea, by the way. I don't know. They're just leveraging that giant player pool to trick them into doing a bunch of playtest.
I don't think it's a really hard sell to trick D&D players.
No. It's maybe a little harder than you might think, but it depends on if you have a captive audience or not. And if you've got the ready-made audience of the Adventurers League, your organized play, you can just throw it out there and they'll jump all over that, right? But just trying to throw it out there to the masses, I don't know that they get as good a return as we might hope. Which is why I'm excited to see them open it up in that way, because those classes really need some rigorous testing.
You think like the polls you don't think are as good?
I think they're good. I don't think they're as good as we would like.
You probably get a lot of armchair DMing,
yeah,
and playing where they're weighing in, but they're not actually playing them in their game and experiencing them.
Sure. Yeah. White Room, you know, impressions are good to have, but actual play experiences is infinitely better.
This is the most widely tested version of D&D, probably any role-playing game.
Yeah,
really,
they had what, a couple 100,000 in the initial playtest packets.
But I'm also enjoying the ongoing that they're they're kind of constantly tweaking it and throwing it to the community, letting us rip it apart, and then reassembling those pieces.
Yeah, no, I love the open interaction between the developers, to the designers and the development process and the community. The first time I became aware of this open development process was through Onyx Path, when they were doing stuff for the second editions of the Chronicles of Darkness line, Vampire the Requiem, etc. And it was amazing. I loved it. I loved feeling like I felt so invested, right? I'd get on the forums, I'd give my impressions, and then, I saw a couple of my suggestions actually make it into the final text when the book came out. That was, man, I'm all in, right? Yeah. So I think this is great. It creates a level of community engagement and ownership, and just ties us in there. It's like, your thoughts on whatever X subclass might be the thing that makes or breaks something, and your stuff might end up in official D&D material. Come on, that's awesome.
It is absolutely awesome. Hey, Writer's Block. I was actually watching some web DM this morning on Fantasy Warhammer, and I actually played in a game with those guys last night for Saber Dice.
Cool.
That's been a lot of fun. We have this collab game we're doing once a week. Cthulhu Kid, pushing some buttons here. Cthulhu Kid, what do you think of 3.5 elitists? What? Here's the thing: there's elitists from every edition,
right? I mean, everybody likes you like what you like. You play what you want. That's cool. You know, I'm not here to tell you that what you like is wrong, but don't be a dickhead about it. Come on. You know, let other people enjoy what they like. And you know, I enjoy Pathfinder and 5th edition. They're very different, but they scratch different itches, and they're good for people who want different things. So there's room for them both to exist. And I'm really happy about it. You know, a rising tide lifts all ships. If one's doing better, then that kind of extrapolates to the entire industry. So I'm very happy that they both exist in their place for the people who want them.
I agree. And once you've identified someone as your quote unquote elitist, like you you should probably just walk away from that discussion, because there's nothing you can say.
Yeah.
Nor should you. Do you need to, really.
Right. Like, have you ever changed somebody who hates on 4th edition's mind by telling them how wrong they are? I doubt it.
And you know, the great thing about this hobby is we have so many different great games we can play. There's no need to get mired in. And like, my personal opinion, there is systems I don't really care for. So I won't run them, but I will play in them and have fun.
That's my thing. I can play and have fun in absolutely any game, no matter the system, right? It's role-playing games are so much about who you're playing with and what you bring to the table. And, you know, I like some systems better than others, like Shadowrun. I love Shadowrun, but it lives and dies on the setting. I do not like the Shadowrun system. No, I could go into that. I'm not a fan, but I will play it and I will enjoy it. And I have done so, and I will continue to do so the next time someone says, hey, let's play a Shadowrun game, you know?
I feel like that's a fairly common assessment as well.
Yeah.
And that's why there's people playing it with the Apocalypse engine. And we actually played it with Cypher System.
Oh, cool. Neat.
So there is definitely ways to take those games that like have like these awesome settings, but maybe the mechanics aren't your bag, and kind of like play them with something else.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have people all the time on the group talking about, hey, I want to play Star Wars, but I want to use 5th edition mechanics. Has anybody done blah, 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 and just all over the place. And you'll get all those people saying, oh, don't do that. Play a game that's better suited, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, shush. You know, they like the 5e mechanics. They like the Star Wars setting and lore. Why not let them mash it up? Why do you have to? I don't know. You know, it's just yucking on somebody else's.
I'm a naysayer on there. I kind of groan when people say that. I'm like, oh, why would you want to do all that work?
Well, I mean, that's fine. Like that is a hell of a lot of work. But hey, if they're willing to do it, or if in a lot of cases someone has already done it, then go nuts. You know, yeah. I'm not the one doing that work. You do it.
Well, I guess you know what, our position is a little bit different, because we always get it. How would you do it? And I go, hey, I wouldn't.
So. Right. Now that I've done. When someone suggests, hey, how would you do this? A lot of times my answer is, well, I wouldn't, and you know, here's why. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. Like, you know, hopefully people that watch our channel, they get the underlying message that like, we don't really care what you're playing, just go out and play games.
Yeah,
have fun. You know what, you may change and do all kinds of crazy stuff at your table, but as long as the people at your table are having fun, it doesn't matter.
That's it. As long as everybody's having fun, you're doing it right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like we break things all the time.
Yeah. And if you break it, you know, just roll it back. It's fine. Playtesting is the secret. Yes, playtesting is the secret backdoor to influencing design, Ben. Yes, and Ben would know, as he wrangles the playtests for Kobold Press, which extensively playtest their material, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely love working for them as publisher.
So, you know what? Since we have you on here, let's peel back can we peel back the curtain on that?
We can try.
Sure. So what does that look like?
What, the playtest stuff?
The playtest for Kobold.
Well, that would, let's see, Ben, if you're still spooking around in there and you want to jump in with the actuals that you're allowed to talk about. As far as I know, Ben will prepare a playtest packet, which will have the early drafts of the stuff that has, I don't think even gone through development yet at that point. It's maybe gone through some text line editing to make sure there's no typos and that sort of thing. And so he'll send these packets of, you know, usually let's say 5 subclasses, something along those lines, and then we'll prepare a questionnaire. He'll ask the designer, all right, is there any problem areas you want people to focus on? Is there anything in particular you want them to give you their opinion on? And I'll come up with, you know, a big list of things that I'm maybe not sure about, or something that I'm curious about how it works. and I'll point those out specifically, and then he'll send them out in big batches, and there'll be a deadline for response. And then once he gets those back, he'll compile them, and then we'll see what's what. And then it'll go through maybe some redesign, or then the development phase, where the developer will take that feedback, weigh it, see if it has merit, and Ranger Danger from Dan. There it is. Weigh it, see if it has merit, and then that will have an effect on the final stage of a product. I imagine Ben is typing furiously right now.
So in the chat, I dropped what Dan was referencing before over on Facebook, so you guys can take a look at that. You can get his thoughts.
Yeah, and just a refresher. Those are my impressions upon reading through the Ranger Revised from Unearthed Arcana, the most recent one. So it's a while back now, almost a year ago at this point. I'm a big fan of elves, Zarift. I've been an elf fan for a long time, ever since the complete Book of Elves. Hey, Dawnforged. Hey, man. Oh, so happy to hear that. Thank you. I'm glad you're getting use out of it, man. I got to meet. I was working the booth, the third-party table at the Lone Wolf booth at GenCon, and I got to meet so many people who backed the Tome of Beasts, or who picked it up, or used it. And there's a lot of fans out there. It was really, really gratifying. It was awesome to see. And we actually sold out of the Book of Lairs, and would have sold out of Tome of Beasts, except the last one had a scratch on the back cover. That was a deal breaker. No. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Transit.
Scratch and dent.
Yeah.
Doug was like, he's like, I've been using the Tome of Beasts for so long. When he got to Gen Con, he was thinking about picking one up, and he saw the size of the book, and it totally dissuaded him from buying it.
Oh, really?
He's like, I'm not carrying this around. I'm just going to use the PDF.
That's fair enough. That is fair. I cannot. Yeah, I need a lectern at the table if I'm going to use that thing, because Lord knows I'm not going to hold it.
I got mine around here somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, this thing is beefy, man.
There's the big bastard. Look at him.
Not positive, but it might be the biggest 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons book.
It's big, and it's it's over 300 monsters. It has an appendix of NPCs, much like the Monster Manual, same format. It has about the same number of monsters as the Monster Manual, but what makes it thicker is the paper stock. The paper stock is pretty heavy duty, so it's real sturdy.
That's good stuff. I also got this bad boy floating around.
Yeah, nice. That one's basically fresh off the Kickstarter presses.
Why does your DMing cultist look like a juggalo?
Hey, I didn't do it. You'll have to ask Jeff Lee on that one. Dawnforge Cast, Dan, it feels like the monsters in the Monster Manual are too easy, and the Tome of Beasts provides proper challenge. Anyone else share that with you? Yes, but usually not in as positive a light as you did, so thank you, sir. Usually people say, the CRs are wrong on these, they're too hard. There's a range of difficulty within a given CR rating, and we used the monster design guidelines in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which generally work. There's a few critters in the Monster Manual that break those, and I wonder if some of that wasn't through playtest. They realized, okay, by the numbers, this thing is XCR, but because of these factors playing it, it really is more like Y, and so they ad hoc changed it. And that's okay. You got to do that sometimes. There's a lot of art in this science. But we used those rules very extensively, and then pretty much all the monsters in the Tome of Beasts were play tested. Some of the extremely high challenge rating ones was difficult to find people willing to do those, but those are set pieces and plot points a lot of the time anyway. Go ahead.
I think Watts knows that their system is.
I think so.
It's like, all right, so I use that word lovingly, right?
Okay, yeah, because I take exception. I don't think it's garbage. I actually think it works, but I don't think it's the silver bullet that people want it to be.
Well, the challenge system is just off. Like I threw it away very early on using 5th edition and just went to eyeballing it, and they know it's off, and I can prove it. Because if you look at Volo's guide, the monsters are far better categorized by the challenge rating.
The monsters are a bit tougher overall in Volos. Yes, I would agree.
So I don't even think it's tougher. I just think, because really, what's tougher? If you lower the challenge rating on a higher challenge rating monster, is it not tougher now? Like, So it's just really like the perception. They got
Right.
better at
The difficulty for the listed challenge rating.
is my perception anyway.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
But you know, and anybody asks, I'm like, it's more art than science, and
It is definitely more art than science. There's some science in there, and that gets you started, but it really has a lot to do with just kind of feeling it out and figuring what'll work and what won't. Like for instance, in the monster creation rules, there's nothing about vulnerability lowering your defensive challenge rating. So if you're vulnerable to a highly common damage type, like, oh, I don't know, fire, mummy lord, that essentially halves your hit points. And you're going to tell me that that doesn't make you easier than your listed challenge rating? Sorry, that's kind of like free XP.
well, and also like the multiplier system gets weird too, because
it does.
I put out I put out an encounter, and I didn't use the challenge rating system. I just kind of figured out what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, one of my players figured it out, and he's like, this is a deadly encounter for like a 20th level party. And we're like 12th.
Yeah.
But they really had no problems with it. They kind of like mowed stuff down because there's certain factors like, well, how many monsters are there?
Right. There's a lot that goes into that, and the encounter estimation, that's just an estimate, right? That's a starting point. That gives you an idea. That isn't a set, okay, this will take this many rounds for it to kill your party. No, it's not going to work it's never going to work like that, ever. There's too many variables. Too much is different. What are the monster's individual capabilities? Not all CR1 monsters are created equal, right? Look at the bugbear, and then look at any other challenge rating 1 monster. That bugbear will kill all of them and have them for breakfast. What are the PC's exact capabilities? What are the what's the environmental scenario when you're fighting them? All of those have a huge effect. Do you just have a run of crappy dice where your PCs roll, 10 ones and they just miss when they should have hit and they get out damaged, or they blow a death save, right? And the cleric died. What are you going to do? All of that stuff factors in. So you can't just take the encounter estimation as any sort of solid given. It's a starting point, right? It's a snapshot.
Don't forge cast. Andrew's got a beef, Dan.
What's that?
The Tome of Beast is hard to search through when using keyword beast to find the beast. Beast is on every page.
Yeah, that's rough. I will pass that along to the art director.
They said, watch, this is going to be funny as shit.
Yeah. We've gotten complaints that why are there monsters that aren't beasts in the book? Like, come on, man. it's a freaking word, okay? And it sounds cool. Yeah.
It works for me. So I saw you guys have announced the second Tome of Beasts.
We have, yes. Principal design has begun on the Tome of Beasts 2 working title. It's going to have a snappier title than that, I'm sure. And there's some cool stuff going on in there.
Nice. Yeah. So are you going to be building some monsters in there?
I am, in fact. I'm working on that. It's kind of one of my projects running as we speak. So it's very exciting. I get to do some more legendary higher CR guys, kind of like the Fey Lords and Ladies.
Oh, cool.
Some animal lords, like kind of almost like totemic exemplars of kind of half animal, half people type races. Really cool stuff.
Oh, nice. Oh, see that guy's even got a sneak peek.
Yep. Little bit of a sneak peek for you there. If you want to get the Tome of Beasts, I believe they're in stock right now on the Kobold Press store. So they are there and waiting for you. And PDFs never go out of stock. So
yes. And as staff editor Doug pointed out, when it comes to the Tome of Beasts, you may actually be better off owning the PDF because this sucker's heavy. Although if you need to like stop a bullet or something, you're gonna want that Tome of Beasts.
Yeah. I'm still a little bit of a Luddite as far as running games and stuff goes. I like having physical books to look through and reference. I use PDFs when I'm sitting at my computer designing because I've got my main monitor here, and then over on the side I have a vertical monitor for reference material, so I can kind of flip back and forth between them. That was something from my software engineer wife that has changed my life, and I'm never going back.
I used to be all books, and then I moved to the laptop, and I like running from the laptop.
Sure.
But then we started recording our games, and then my laptop gets used for recording the games, therefore I can't use it.
Go back to books.
Back to books. Or
yeah, I've never ended up with a good setup where I can use a device seamlessly in play. I'm just faster at looking things up on a book. You know, maybe the PDFs I'm getting they're not the right quality and they're not loading fast enough. I don't know.
Oh, so there's a secret to that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be revolutionary or not, right? I
Oh.
would just preload all the tabs I needed.
So on a laptop, that's probably easier. Trying to do it on a tablet is what I've tried, and that's never worked out well.
Yeah. On a laptop, I would just have tabs all over the place, open and minimized, and I just pop up the one I need.
That makes sense.
So that's fairly seamless and easy to do.
GenCon ooze, massive con saver. Oh, gross. The crud ooze.
Yeah. Oh, from Dawnforge, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Andrew.
Electric Beastaloo. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So it's about that time for us to start wrapping things up. I want to thank everyone for showing up, hanging out. I want to thank you for coming on, Dan. Yeah. Too bad I missed you. Did you hang out afterwards? Were you there late?
Where? Whereabouts?
GenCon.
Did I hang out late? What do you mean? Like after the show or like, after events closed?
No.
Oh, wait, hang on. You cut out there for a second.
Oh, no, I know you were local to GenCon, so like after the show was done, you can be like, I'm going home.
Oh, no. I hung out late pretty much every night. It was only at Sunday that I pulled my ripcord and I was out of there at 4.
Yeah, I think we pulled out even a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I also had like a 12-hour drive ahead of me. So
right, I had an hour drive round trip if you take into account carpool. So so that's nice. Good for me. No, it was great. It was great. I loved it. I got to meet all kinds of cool people. I got to have a really interesting talk with Jeremy Crawford, the lead rules designer for D&D. For actual D&D. I got to meet a bunch of podcasters who I'd only ever met, online personalities like Aram Vartian from God's Fall, and I got to catch up with Rich Howard, who his big thing these days is Whelmed, the Young Justice Files. I got to catch up with James Intricasso from Tabletop Babble. Just a lot of cool people.
Yeah, I did not get to corner Crawford, but I did grab Merle's for like 30-40 minutes.
I could never find him. I was looking for I wherever he was, I was always the bar, apparently. I have to pick the right bar.
I ran into him at the Geek and Sundry party, and I was surprised that there's like this big space around him.
Yeah.
I would figure you'd be getting mobbed, but
yeah, I don't know. I guess some people are they don't want to be that guy, and when everybody doesn't want to be that guy, everybody keeps distance. I got to meet Matt Mercer. That was super cool. That was a really fun conversation.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got to meet him briefly because we streamed the event that he did.
Oh, nice.
For Open Legend, so that was definitely cool. And, it also gave me a front row seat to that event as well.
That is cool. I got to do a little bit of work on the not the game system for Open Legend, but for the setting, Amuria's Dawn.
Oh, your name's on there.
I did a little work on that. Yeah.
Nice. Is there anyone Brian Feaster didn't grab?
He tried to get a heck of a lot of people. That's for sure. He's got a lot of folks working on that.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Yeah, so I didn't know your name was on there. I know Matt and Ed Greenwood.
Yep. Yeah, I did a Society of Elves on the planet that are like they're sort of in tune with the natural sort of energy that when anything dies on the world, their souls return to it and then kind of enrich it and then reincarnate. The problem is when people from the invading world die, their souls aren't really compatible and they're poisoning it. And so, their whole thing is they keep the sort of the planet's life force pure, so they blend in. They're kind of a culture of assassins, and they determine if you're going to be a poisonous influence on the world or not. And if you are, they kill you, and they kill you in such a way that they destroy your soul, so it doesn't go through that reincarnation cycle and poison the world's soul. It's kind of cool.
Hey, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
That's what I'm talking about. They are the mallet to break the eggs.
Well, at first I was like, oh wow, that sounds like if you don't like these guys, you don't want them to die because they're gonna poison your world.
Correct. So these guys handle that.
They found the solution.
Yeah, they are the solution. Yes, indeed.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a perfect note to end on. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everyone showing up in the chat. And until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
Thanks for having me.